I'm working with a drum loop here and I want to make it a little bit tighter, punchier and a bit groovier. And the way I'm going to do that is by using some drum bus compression. So let's check out the loop as it stands. I'm going to take the reverb off just so we can hear the compression a lot more clearly. And what I've got here are each of our 5 drum sounds going into an audio track. So they're just routed into the audio track. I've named it drum bus and added the compressor. The first thing I'm going to do is add some really extreme compression by bringing the threshold down. And the reason I'm doing this is when the compressor's really having to react very hard, it's easier to hear what each of the parameters are doing to the sound as you're tweaking them. So let's bring this down and get some pretty hefty compression going on. Okay, so that's pretty extreme. First thing I want to do is get the punch and the snap back into these sounds. You can hear they've been blunted out by such heavy compression. So I'm going to roll open the attack to allow the initial transients through. The sounds for you to focus on here are going to be the kick and the clap. So just pick one of those. I'd recommend the kick and just listen for the punchiness returning as we roll open this attack. Okay, that's sounding good. Let's pull this all the way back so you can hear the difference. And then I'm going to push it a lot more open and give you a little A-B here of what happens when we go too far. Now you're going to hear the real boominess of the kick coming in again, rather than us just enhancing that punch. Next up, I'm going to tweak the release, and what I'm aiming for here is just to set the groove. So as the compressor is releasing and the volume is going back up, the speed that goes back up is going to affect the groove. If we go for short times, it will give us a more hurried feel, and longer times a bit more relaxed. The sounds to focus on here are either things with really long tails that you can make out, or in this case, I recommend listening to the shaker as it's a busy pattern and you'll be able to hear it pumping up and down. So I like it somewhere around there. Now we've still got really heavy compression, but just check this for a second. Look at the gain reduction. Predominantly we're being driven by the kick drum here. It's the loudest, most powerful sound, and that's totally cool. At this stage we could dial back the compression and be very happy with this sort of pumping. What I'm going to do though, I think, is just try and take out a little bit of the impact of that kick so that some of the other sounds are having more of a say, if you like, on the way that the compressor is moving. So we'll be getting a bit of a different groove coming in because of this, rather than the quite predictable pumping sound of the kick. In order to do that, we need to open up the hidden part of the compressor and turn the EQ on. We're going to select a low cut, and then I'm going to bring this down, and what's happening is it's taking out the real low subby part of the kick drum so that that is not having an impact on the circuit of the compressor. So let's turn it off. Just have a look at the gain reduction now. See how that's changing, the difference we've got. Now what you can do, of course, is have a good listen to it instead of focusing with your eyes. You hear how the groove changes? I really like the sound that we've got now. So I'm going to shut that up. And what we'll do is we'll dial back the amount of compression because it's a bit heavy, and they're simply going to do that by bringing in the ratio. Somewhere around there is pretty good to me. Let's check what our peak value is here without the compressor. -6.3, and with it, -7.2, so we can add about 1 dB on the output there. And let's have a listen to what it sounds like before and after, now we've finished setting up our compressor. Nice, I'm happy with that. I've got one more trick that I just want to put in, I'm going to take the compressor, copy it, we'll turn the reverb back on, and let's chuck it after our reverb. Now what I need to do is open up the sidechain, and I'm going to take my audio input, obviously from the drum bus, because I want that pumping the reverb the same way that it's applying to all of our drums. But what we're going to do now is just take the actual routing from before the compressor that's sitting on the drum bus. So before this is taking effect. So this one is receiving exactly the same signal as the other, but now of course it's being applied to the reverb and giving that some nice groove and pump as well. If you enjoyed the video, remember to hit subscribe and please do share and like. It's a big help to us and I really appreciate it. Also, if you've got any questions or compression tips of your own you'd like to share, feel free to hit us up in the comments below. Take care.